Hey traders, Steven here, your honest trading coach. And in just a few moments, we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 major pairs. I'll be pointing out the key levels of structure that I'm paying attention to on these pairs, and also talking you guys through a few different trade ideas that I have on these top 5 pairs going into this week. If that sounds interesting, then make sure that you go ahead and click that subscribe button and click the notification bell. And because YouTube actually takes a few days to alert you about these videos, and these markets do move pretty fast, if you'd like to get alerts immediately when we publish these videos, then just go over to thetradingchannel.net, have a look around, and also subscribe to our email list. While you do that, I'm going to let the intro and disclaimer roll, and I'll see you guys on the other side to share my predictions for these top 5 major pairs. Welcome back, guys. So let's go ahead and start off today's analysis on the euro dollar. So first off, let's take a look at trend like we always do here in these weekly market prediction videos. What's the trend of the euro dollar? Well, currently, if we look at recent price action, what we're seeing is a period of consolidation out of this market. So something that's important to note is that at times that there's not a trend, it's okay for you to look at a chart and say, I do not know which direction this market's going to go based on what I'm seeing right now. That's going to happen from time to time during your trading. And the euro dollar is in one of those situations. We have a market that was pushing up in an uptrend. And let me give you guys the actual rules that I use to define a market in a period of consolidation. So we had this uptrend creating new highs and new lows. What happened here is the market broke above this previous resistance. As soon as that break happened, I went ahead and pointed out my previous level of support before that resistance break and the highest level of resistance the market made it to. Now, anything the market does bouncing around in between these two lines we have on our screen, our previous support level and our highest resistance level made, is going to be consolidation. This will be consolidation according to my analysis until we either get a breakout to the upside, continuing our previous uptrend, or a break lower, putting us into a reversal situation and giving us an indication that we could possibly see the start of a downtrend. So that's what we're looking at here on the daily chart on the euro dollar. Now, does that mean that we have no trading opportunities at all? Well, I can tell you one thing. We're definitely not looking for long opportunities. Why do I say that? Well, because we just pushed off this previous level of support, and we've already had over a 200 pip move from that level, pushing up. So we're not chasing this thing on a buy, expecting the 1.2513 level to be retested again. The market's already tried to push above that level 3 times, which honestly gives me a slight bias to the downside. So with that being the case, looking at a smaller time frame and seeing that this market on a smaller time frame actually gave me enough of an indication that we were in a downtrend on that time frame. And what I'm talking about is the 4-hour chart, one time frame down from this chart we're on now. My initial thoughts this week for the euro dollar is we actually see some type of pullback, at least retesting this zone in here between our blue line and these previous lows the market created. So that's initially what I'm looking for out of the euro dollar, is a pullback into that area before we either see this market break into a possible reversal situation, or if we see this market hit this area and start to push up, finding support here yet again at these previous lows. So initially, again, looking for this pullback, looking for it to get in between the area of 1.2246 all the way down to these lows, really 1.2150. Anywhere in that zone is somewhere we could potentially see some type of long setup and take it as a support bounce trade. Now, the market may not respect that analysis, and it could continue up higher. If it does, then 1.2513 is definitely somewhere we'll be looking for possible shorting opportunities, and above that at 1.2608 if we get a little bit higher there. If this market heads lower, of course, our first zone is right in between our blue line and the previous low there that we'll be looking for possible long opportunities. And if we push below that, creating this possible trend reversal going into a downtrend, we'll be looking for shorting opportunities all the way down to the 1.2040 level, which will be the next level we look at for possible long opportunities here on the euro dollar. So that's our analysis for this pair. Again, pair or stock or whatever you trade in a period of consolidation and looking at the charts, not really knowing or understanding which direction we're likely to go is completely okay. You're not always going to know or always going to have your rules met to be able to follow a specific trend. No doubt, recent price action has given us a period of consolidation here in the euro dollar, which can make determining which direction this market's going to go extremely difficult. So that's what we have here on the euro dollar. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at the dollar yen. So here on the dollar yen, last week we had predictions of this market continuing in a downtrend, and I'll actually put a little clip of last week's video up right over here. And what we were looking at last week is this market being in a downtrend, pushing lower with lower lows and lower highs. And we said that we expected this right here, this pullback we had, to be our lower high. We expected this to be our lower low, that to be our lower high, and trend continuation out of this market. We expect this market to start creating new lower lows, followed by another lower high, until the market breaks into a reversal, breaking previous resistance. So what we now have is a market that has created a new lower low. We have not closed below this low yet, though, so we haven't officially put ourselves into a continuation of this downtrend, but instead of that, we've bounced off this level of support with a little bit of buying pressure out of the market. Now, something that's important to note, when I'm doing these videos and I'm pointing out the levels of major structure and trends in these markets, if you are a trend continuation trader, then you really don't need to be paying attention to these counter trend levels of support I'm pointing out. And the reason why is because look at this massive downtrend the dollar yen's in. If you're a trend continuation trader, you just need to be looking at that trend and trying to find a way to jump on that trend. And all these lines are going to make that a little bit confusing. So what I'm going to do is actually open up a different chart. Bear with me just a second. And here we have the same dollar yen chart, guys. I know it's a different background. I'm sorry about that, but this is going to make it a little easier for you to see the trend I'm talking about without the horizontal lines we had on the screen. So in this trend, what we're looking at is lower lows and lower highs being created. We have this lower low, followed by this, which looks to be our lower high. And if we actually get a close below this level sometime this week, say this candle comes down and closes below that level, then that's putting us into trend continuation for this downtrend. Meaning that if you're a trend continuation trader, you don't really need to be looking any lower than that. Like if we have a major level of structure pointed out at 104.5. If that was the case, you would not need to be looking at that level for trading opportunities. That's a counter trend trade. And if you are a trend continuation trader, what you need to be looking for is that pullback and a way to jump on the underlying trend. That if you are just starting to trade, I would really suggest only picking one, either trend continuation or counter trend trades. And if you've picked trend continuation trades to be your trading style, then when we're looking at these major levels of support while the market's in a downtrend, you really don't need to pay attention to those levels of support for trading opportunities. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go back over to the dollar yen on this chart and talk about what we're expecting next out of this pair. Well, as I said, we did have a nice push off of this level of support. The only way I'll be looking for a trading opportunity here at 105.65 is if we get a nice retest, probably a double bottom on a lower time frame, possibly some RSI divergence, along with some other entry techniques that we use in the EAP training program. This will have to be a really good entry if I'm looking for trading opportunities at this level, and the reason is because what we just talked about. We have a massive downtrend on this market that I really don't want to trade against. So a better scenario for me this week would be a push below these lows and a pullback into the 105.65 level, making that resistance. Pushing down, I will be looking for counter trend long opportunities around 103.93 if the market gets down to that level. And if we end up going a little bit higher from here without pushing below and breaking below these previous lows, the first place I'll be looking at for resistance and trend continuation is around 107.46. If we go higher than that, around 108.70. So that's our predictions here on the dollar yen. Now we'll go ahead and move on to our next pair, which is going to be the Aussie dollar. Okay guys, so on the Aussie dollar here last week, the market was hovering around this major level of resistance at 0.7893. We said that we expected this market to continue in the downward direction from this level. Again, there'll be a clip right over here showing you guys that analysis from last week. Now that we've pushed into trend continuation here, and what I mean by that is we've had a market that was previously in an uptrend making these new highs, then we have this very impulsive move down that breaks below our previous level of support. This would be our initial low. Afterwards, we get our lower high. And since then, we've gotten a new lower low. Because of this, we know we're now in a downtrend and we can expect some trend continuation out of this pair. What's the first place that we're going to be looking for trend continuation out of the Aussie dollar? Well, we're looking to get a pullback up into 0.7806. That'll be the first place we look for trend continuation out of this pair. We can also be looking for some possible counter trend opportunities to the long side if we get a push back down to 0.7730. In that area is a level we can look for possible long opportunities on the Aussie dollar. Now, if we get a push above our most previous support level that we expect to become resistance, and the market puts in the lower high a little bit higher than we expect, then the next place for resistance we'll look at is 0.7893 for trend continuation out of the Aussie dollar. So again, initially our very first prediction out of the Aussie dollar is hopefully we get some kind of push up into this level of previous support looking left that is now going to possibly become resistance at 0.7806, and in that level is where we'll be looking for our first trend continuation shorting opportunities. Now let's go ahead and move on to our next pair. Our next pair today is going to be the pound dollar. So here on the pound dollar, we have our 1, 2, 3 possible reversal move. What do I mean by that? Well, we have this push down followed by a lower high and a lower low. We ended up getting a break and close below this previous low, putting us into a possible reversal situation as we were in an uptrend here on the pound dollar. Because of this, my initial prediction here on the pound dollar is to go ahead and turn this line to red for resistance, and right where the market is now, for me, is going to be a great place to start looking for some shorting opportunities out of the pound dollar. What I'm expecting this to be is our push down to a lower low, this becoming our lower high, quite possibly, and then pushing us down into trend continuation, break below this previous low. If we get that trend continuation, the next place we'll be looking for long opportunities is 1.3597. And if the market, instead of finding resistance at the 1.3856 like we expect, continues higher, then we'll be looking left right around 1.4091 for our next level of possible resistance here on the pound dollar. But initially, our expectations is for this market to actually find some resistance in this zone where we are currently. And if we get that right kind of entry reason in this zone, that's what we'll be doing, is taking this market short in expectation of trend continuation following the last two impulsive moves down. And again, for support, 1.3597 is going to be a good level. We'll go ahead and zoom the chart out. Take a look at one more level for support. Can you guys spot a major level yet? Right there's the next major level of support that I see. Reason being because this is a level in the market that was tested as resistance a few times in the past, as well as support more recently right in there. So around 1.3450 will be another level that if the market does push down in some trend continuation, that we'll be looking for possible long opportunities here out of the pound dollar. Now let's go ahead and move on to our final pair, which will be the dollar Swiss. So last week on this dollar Swiss pair, we talked about the 0.9464 level as being possible resistance. We thought this was an area that would push the market down with some selling pressure, and I'll put a screenshot of that right over here on your screen. Now, why did we expect this? Well, because if you look here, similar to our dollar yen analysis, we are still in a massive downtrend. We had this big impulsive move down to this low right here. We had a pullback to a lower high, a push down to a lower low. Now, because of that, what are we expecting? A new lower high, or in this case, an equal high, and then trend continuation. We're still expecting trend continuation to the downside out of the dollar Swiss based on our technical analysis here on the daily chart. So with that being the case, what we're expecting in our initial prediction for this week is for this market to push back up into 0.9464. If we get that push up into that level, that's somewhere we definitely will be taking a look at for possible shorting opportunities here on the dollar Swiss. Now, if this market continues lower from where we are now, say we get this next impulsive move down all the way back down to 0.9274, although we are still currently in a downtrend on this pair, we can look at that level for a possible counter trend long opportunity for those of you who are counter trend traders. And if we push below that, these most previous lows looking at 0.9194 will be a really good spot for counter trend opportunities as well. So pretty simple analysis here on the dollar Swiss. Our initial prediction is that if we get a move back up into 0.9464, we can look there for possible shorting opportunities. So that's going to do it for today's video, guys. That's our predictions on the dollar Swiss, our predictions on the top 5 major pairs. I hope this video brought value to your trading. If you're interested in more educational content from us that we do not offer here on YouTube that can really dramatically help in your own path to becoming profitable, then feel free to check out some of our training programs and courses by clicking the link in the description labeled EAP Training Program or Advanced Pattern Mastery course. If you're not quite ready to invest in your trading education, then go ahead and look through some of our other free educational content here on YouTube. Also, you can get your hands on a free technical analysis beginner course by heading over to www.thetradingchannel.net and signing up for our email list. Don't forget to be subscribed here so that you're alerted next time we come out with a weekly market prediction video. I wish you guys the best of luck in all your future trades, and I'll talk to you in the next video.